Since people seem to enjoy recovered footage, why not have some more? This time, a pyramid. Altar not included. So, this pyramid is the definition of a janky building no sane architect or anyone building terrain would ever accept. I mean, look at the left side of the pool. An extra inch, more like an extra meter. And whoever laid these stones down needs to be shot. But there is just something that we need to talk about here. Something very interesting. Angles. A lot is made of the perfect cut. That evidence of man's hand in the creation of an item. And a lot of terrain crafters might even argue the perfect cut is the key to building an entire piece. It's that correct angle. But does this really hold true for ruins? Buildings are supposed to be ruins, real ones, that not abandoned 5 minutes ago or 5 years ago, but the kind that have treasure and ancient secrets within. You know, the fun ones, filled with Draugr traps and... oh wait, those don't exist. Anyway, a true ruin, one untouched by the hands of men, is going to be subject to natural forces. Specifically, the settling of the earth itself. Rock has weight. Shocking, I know, but very important. A heavy rock and sand is going to displace that sand, and the rock that is placed over unconsolidated soil will, over time, sink into that ground unless the ground is tightly bound on some molecular level or has a layer such as hard packed clay just below the topsoil, or a very high bedrock. Over time, without maintenance, our pyramid of stone here will be sinking into the ground. Rock is going to move, it's going to shift, and in doing so, it's going to start to crack, and it'll bend those metal strips. All of this is going to end up creating these void spaces, cracks in between the chunks of stone that make up the building. The stone will literally grind and create weak areas where wind and water can come along and just erode away the edges. The longer this goes on without a human ever touching our respective ruin, it leads to angles within the overall building that could not and would not have been in the original plan, such as the wall of a retaining... starting over. The longer this goes on without humans touching up the building and actively providing maintenance to it, it leads to angles and situations that would not have been in the original plans of any sane builder. Such as the walls of a retaining pool, say, sliding in odd directions, uneven steps. Could this just be an excuse for laziness on my part for what a past me decided and when he didn't want to do anything about uniform blocks? Yes, but you're a damned liar if you throw that in my face, as I never said that. The point on settling buildings still stands because this is an old and weather-beaten ruin pretty clearly and distinctly. And insofar as terrain is concerned, this is something you might want to consider. There is the other thing we need to talk about. Water. Water, or the fact that you include a spring in your piece. You want to spare a thought to hydrostatic forces and try not to use it as an excuse unless you absolutely have to. Hydrostatic forces, which is simply the pressure of water at rest that acts upon soil or rock, are in play because I decided to add this pool. The fact that you have water on a terrain piece like this means that the entire piece is going to be subject in some capacity to the source of that water, wherever it comes from, be it a spring or directly from a well, access to the water table. And if something happens to, say, a water table, then the terrain, and by extension, the building that's on the terrain that we're attempting to model, is going to move. If the water table shrinks, that means the terrain will drop and it will take our building with it and it will settle downwards in a way. But the inverse is also true. The water table can, though not often, rise. This can be in response to settling, but it will create a bulge effect. Rocks are going to split and move away from each other, and the building itself can... You can use this as an excuse to pull some stone apart, cause a little bit of cracking or smashing with just these light damages that are going to alter the story of the building with the alteration of the shape itself. So a lot of texture and strangely shaped stones are okay. See, it was all intentional from the start. See? The bronze bits and straps were really just a impulse addition. I didn't feel like carving notches into the foam to let the trophy sit, so I just let them sit. Let's call it Midas water, but bronze? Or recent cultist activity. It does make a cool set piece for skirmish games, though. Scale's a bit off to make it playable, and past me didn't care about the shape. I mean, hydrostatic and geologic forces. But hey, if you're building something like this, why not spare a thought to how water and how buildings act? So, if you enjoyed this rather janky footage of a pretty interesting build, all things considered, why don't you consider leaving I don't know, you could leave a like or a comment down below. You could subscribe if you want more of these. Got some more of this janky footage lying around. Might be able to make something out of it.